What is going on? We are back in black in the building. Shout out to everybody out there. James Youngblood, that's my brother. Shout out to Dave from No Compromise, Shawnee, Erica, Tasha, Mariah, everybody out there, man. Hey, if you at the Court Plantation, man, much power and respect to you. Look, let me tell you something. Once you start learning about stock and interest rates and things like that, you start to really get a different perspective on what's going on. Let me tell you, these interest rates are rising, and everybody seems to think they know and can predict what the Federal Reserve is doing, all this other shit. Let me tell you something. Shit, interest rates almost at 7%. These corporate plantations are laying off by the droves. And since we are victims of racism, white supremacy, it affects us the most. And we're going to talk about it. We got a good topic today. We're going to talk about the 10 years of slave. Your boy Tory Lanez, man. Guilty, nigga. Let's get it. Man. Look, man. Oh, man, we had a great live yesterday, me and my brother David, man. I wanted to get James Youngblood in there, but I know he was busy. We're going to have to schedule another one and get that brother in there. I'm going to probably start going live a lot more often, you know, just to have conversations with y'all brothers. But I'm not going live to get no views and likes and all that. I don't give a damn about all that. That's not important. Man, your boy Tory Lanez got that 10-year bid. Man, I wonder what's going to happen. I really do. I'm looking for news to see what's going on. NPR, here, let's see. For, you know, shooting at Meg Thee Stallion. They giving that brother a 10-year bid. Canadian rapper Tory Lanez was sentenced to 10 years in prison after he was found guilty of shooting hip-hop superstar Megan Thee Stallion in the foot after the pair left a Los Angeles party in 2020. The hearing began Monday and wrapped up Tuesday, ending a high-profile case in which Megan, 28, was subjected to what prosecutors called repeated and grotesque attacks. It cast a spotlight on the scrutiny black women face when they report abuse. Lanez, whose real name is Daystar Peterson, shot Megan, three-time Grammy winner, whose legal name is Megan Pete, after a party at a Hollywood Hills home of reality star and makeup mogul Kylie Jenner on July 12, 2020. A jury convicted Lanez, 31, who pleaded not guilty of 3 felony charges in December: assault with a semi-automatic firearm, carrying a loaded, unregistered firearm in a vehicle, and discharging a firearm with gross negligence. Wearing an orange jumpsuit, Lanez addressed the court before the judge handed down his sentence. He apologized for his actions, and he said he took full responsibility for the 2020 shooting. If I could change it, I would, but I can't. He said, everything I did that night, I take full responsibility. He added, I truly am just trying to be a better person. Lanez looked surprised but remained quiet after the sentence was announced. The mother of his son burst into tears as she was led out of the courtroom. Matthew Barhoma, a member of Lanez's legal team, said appeals for both the sentence and the conviction are planned. The team will also file for bail when it appeals the sentence. In handing down his sentence, South Los Angeles Superior Court Judge David Herod-Ford said it was difficult to reconcile the doting father and commented philanthropist many described with the person who fired a gun 5 times at Megan. Sometimes good people do bad things. Herod-Ford said actions have consequences and there are no winners in this case. Wow. Lanez also faced possible deportation back to Canada. Ain't no possible. He's going to get deported. You know, here, let me tell you what I think. First of all, he's not a foundational black American. So you can tell he didn't have no regards for the policies, procedures, rules, and regulations in the United States of America Incorporated. You can tell because you ain't going to just be shooting at no woman. Second of all, he didn't have respect for himself or Meg Thee Stallion, no matter what she was doing, because you know how women can be sometimes, and they will poke and prod, but there's a lack of intrinsic value there in himself. For him to damage his whole career and put his whole career and money on the line for someone that you probably was just kicking it with for the night or two, that means you had lack of intrinsic value in yourself. Meg Thee Stallion, let this be a lesson to you, sweetheart. Now, we don't want to see no more allegations come out where you with another motherfucker and y'all getting into it. Because now the problem is going to be you. So the first time we're going to give it to him. Second time is going to be you. Because you cannot be claiming damsel in distress and poking and prodding and being antagonistic in this situation. It takes two to tangle. Somebody should have been the voice of reason to say, hey, let's go. Stop. Don't even pull no guns out. And you, Tory Lanez, an immigrant, because you're not from here. And this is exactly why they're going to deport you and make an example out of you. And that's why you got 10 years. You're lucky you didn't get 15 to 20 for doing that. Because somebody could have got killed. Somebody could have got injured. And this is what I mean. They're not speaking about this. This is my personal opinion. They're not speaking about this the way they should be speaking about it, because I think they're just trying to settle the case. But let me tell you, if that had been a foundational Black American, oh shit, it would have been all over the news. It would have been everywhere. And not just that, it's a lot of stuff that's going on. Even the Alabama brawl out there, it's time for us to wake up. Like we talked about, me and David talked about yesterday. You have to wake up. Start watching these movies. I'm a big time movie buff, so I'll watch movies all the time. I was watching this movie, I forgot the name of it. Woody Harrelson was in it, and it was about a chef that was very disgruntled towards the elite and the aristocracies of the world, and he basically crashed the boat. He crashed the yacht, and damn near majority of them people died. You know what I mean? And I believe that a lot of people are starting to feel that way. And as you can see with the Alabama brawl, a lot of dominant society people are going to start coming out and saying, no, they was wrong. Because there's going to get to the point where, in my personal opinion, dominant society people are going to be in fear of there being an uproar and a uprising of foundational Black Americans. There's a lot of people. I remember a long time ago, this elderly white lady, she said a long time ago, this was during the Obama administration, and she was saying stuff, and the thing that she was saying was like, I really do apologize on behalf of racist white people. And she was like, I am in fear one day that Black people are just not gonna talk and they're gonna become violent due to all the things that Black people have went through. And I said, why do you think that way? She said, Warren, everybody is acting like slavery was 10 years, 20 years. She's like, this went on for hundreds of years. So, and the only people that's benefited is white people. So eventually Black people are going to be like, you know what? I'm getting tired of this. Let's just go. Violence begets violence. We even talked about it, and she said, this is a true story. She said, and white people, because she didn't like what Joe Biden had said, because this was during the Obama election, and they were starting to bring up old shit of Joe Biden then too, because he picked him as his VP, and she was just like, that shit that Joe Biden said wasn't cool either. She was like, because Black folk are not going to care whether you were the one enslaving. If you benefited from it and you're not sharing that wealth, that's going to be a problem. And I think right now what is happening is we're going to have to start calling out these coons and tethers and mammies, and let's get that straight, and then we can move forward with more progress on what we need to do. That's why when I look at Tory Lanez, I want to tell him so bad, bro, what are you doing? They're going to deport you, right? They're going to deport you. They're going to fucking deport him. And you're going to be stuck in Canada. And it's so funny. People talk all this shit about, foundational Black Americans, but y'all want to be us. That's the thing that trips me out. And then y'all try to blend in with Black folk, foundational Black Americans, and act like you've been here this whole time and you haven't. You know what I mean? I just think that it's the norm now. Oh, I'm from the Barbados. Let me go to LA. And let me get amongst foundational Black Americans, love their style, love what they do, so I can be amongst them. It's like the movie Us. You're just trying to replace who we are. You know what I mean? But the formula and the culture is embedded within us. It's in our DNA. It's passed down from the ancestors who me and David talked about. And I think that's a very, very, very deeply rooted thing that we need to start discussing. I look at the Tory Lanez thing and I'm just like, dude, it was almost kind of like just lack of respect for the United States of America Incorporated, because he felt like, in his mind, he probably felt like, oh, well, I'm Tory Lanez, so I ain't, you know what I mean? I'm not worried about that. And I just think that that type of mentality is horrible. And, nigga, you're going to jail. And they're going to deport you, homie. That's what happens. You lucky you wasn't in no third world country. They'd have threw you in prison for 30 years for doing some stupid shit like that. You don't do that, and you don't let it. That's another thing, Foundational Black Americans. Man, when the situation gets too intense, leave. Don't be allowing no other person to be calling the police on you. You know, I even look at all this stuff that's going on. Y'all hear about the Hawaii wildfire? I mean, this is crazy what's going on in the world today, man. You had the Alabama brawl. You have DeSantis trying to erase black history from the history books. They want everybody to think that we just came over here as workers to help. You know what I mean? Then they're trying to muddy the waters and add immigrants to our struggle. Then you got people getting into it with Jess Hilarious, because Jess Hilarious is a woman who had a baby. And you got these trans people acting like they women. All this is called managerial tactics 101. Keep these people fighting about shit that don't matter while we doing what we really want to do. That's what I think. That's what it looks like to me. You know what I mean? And just listen to the conversations. That's why I brung it back to with my brother David. That's why we brung it back to the brawl, and we brung it back to, you know, just what black folk need to do when they clone Tyrone, because we love to get off the important topics at hand, and we like to talk about shit that don't matter. The reason why I'm talking about the Tory Lanez thing is because you have to understand the mindset of a person that's not from here, and they come here with that type of negligence. That's a negligent behavior. To go to a country you're not from, and you get into it with a broad, and you start shooting her. So that lets me know you have lack of confidence in who you are. You must be a little person or have like some type of little man syndrome, or I don't know. Because that's crazy to be pulling out a gun and shooting at a bitch feet and telling her to dance. Like, you must have really been feeling yourself. And for you to not think that they wasn't going to hold you accountable, there has to be a problem. And then for his family to be crying, and look, he know he was shooting a bitch in her feet. So he stopped. Man, I'm telling you, man. And then you got the Ozempic, and you know, people taking them drugs, and it's so much going on in the world today. It's hard for you to focus on what matters most. That's why I tell people, stay in your lane and do what you need to do to survive. Don't focus on somebody else's lane. I always say this: Tory Lanez should have had a handler with him at all times and say, hey man, certain women you just don't need to be around. Especially if you're not gonna be with that woman and you know you're gonna be playing the field. Some women can take it, some women can't. But then again, like I said, he was very negligent in coming to the United States of America Incorporated. You know, you didn't pull that in Canada, but you want to pull it out here. You know what I mean? So now they gave him 10 years. I'm pretty sure they appeal it. They'll probably get it down to 5 or something like that. But he's definitely going to prison. And he's going to get deported because he's an immigrant. And really, I think what they should do is, this is my personal opinion. If you're an immigrant here, you cannot partake in any of the festivities of the United States of America, meaning you can't make money off our cultures in the United States of America. You can't do no rap, can't do nothing. You got to go back to your country and do that. And you got to make the money in your country. I believe that would stop a lot of tethers, coons, Sambos from coming over here and receiving all the benefits that foundational Black Americans should get. As Dr. Clyde Anderson said, they trying to replace us. That's why the banana neglect policy is so big, and that's why you have so many other racial groups, whether they're Haitians, Jamaicans, Dominican Republicans, whatever they are, they get in there to try to replace us. Look how they did baseball. They got tired of paying black, foundational Black American athletes those salaries, so they started going to the Dominican Republic and getting them and paying them low-wage salaries because they didn't want to deal with foundational Black Americans. See, we have to understand we're they're always trying to figure out a way to replace us. That's why, as David from No Compromise says, and Nelly Fuller Jr. says, the dominant society is the master of confusion. So we got to know what it is. And we got to know when we're being replaced. Now, if there had been a foundational black American who would have done something like that, they wouldn't stop talking about it. That's why I feel like all these tethers and coons, stop fleeing from your countries and stay where you at and build that up. And if you're a first gen, be quiet and don't say nothing. And you can't speak on foundational black American business because you're not from here. I don't care. I don't care who you are. I don't care. Like I said, I got love for all, our immigrants that come over here and partake in our culture. But what I don't like is they come over here, they partake in our culture, and then when there's something positive, I'm Nigerian. I'm Haitian. I'm Jamaican. I'm Dominican. But then when it's something bad, we all black, my nigga. I don't like that. And those are things that we gotta correct and check at all times. Stay in your lane, know where you need to go. Be focused on you and not nothing else. Man, go look at them interest rates, man. Them houses, man, them interest rates is going up like a motherfucker, man. So, just look at that. But anyway, man, I digress. You know what it is, you know what it ain't. Shout out to everybody out there, man. Guilty, nigga. I'm out. Peace.